What comes out the back end of a worm is really good stuff. And then it's just really cool just seeing, you know, this hyphae of fungus and that just growing on the surface of the soil. So holistic grazing is a management technique that's been devised by a Zimbabwean man, Alan Savory, and he was observing the large herds of buffalo in Africa, and it could be bison in America, and just, you know, massive herds of ruminant animals. And these animals were constantly on the move because there's generally, you know, some lions or something just on their back and wanting to pick off any of the weak ones. We have large mobs of cattle that are shifted every day, but instead of lions, you know, keeping them bunched together, we have electric fences. And each day they're going onto fresh grass, and it's long grass, and so they're not eating it all. Some of it's getting trampled, and with the dung and urine and that, it's just all forming that kind of compost heap on the ground. Other farmers might be looking at us and saying, well, you're just wasting all that grass because it gets dry and stalky and what have you. But, you know, my reply is that waste is a human concept. Nature doesn't do waste. And so we are using that pasture as part of our fertiliser program, because that's what's getting put down on the soil and broken down and going back into building soil. When the grass is grazed under the holistic long grazing system, it gets cut off short by the animal, and it also sheds its roots at that time, and that's what is releasing carbon into the soil. And I guess one of the most exciting things and drivers of what we're doing is the potential that has for helping with climate change issues. Some of those CAFOs that they call in America, or the feedlot, cattle fattening operations, are a climate disaster. But again, you know, under this system, they are sequestering more carbon and are part of a natural cycle that is actually beneficial. Conventionally, farmers, it's all about keeping the grass short in a vegetative state, so it's growing vigorously. And that system works while you're putting on, you know, lots of imported fertilisers, particularly phosphate fertilisers, largely from North Africa, and a whole system that requires digging up that fertiliser and trucking it and then shipping it and then trucking it and then processing it and then flying it onto hills. It's a system that's not going to work in a future with less fossil fuels. What we're doing on the farm here is trying to reduce the amount of fossil fuels that it takes to produce food. We've got the cattle going around. We have, you know, hens following along behind the cattle. There's pigs on this farm too, and we're milking a few dairy cows. And all that is really about using a perennial crop like grass, pasture, with, you know, forage from trees and that around as well, so we can, you know, produce eggs from the chooks and pork, you know, without relying on so much of the annual grains and all the energy that's involved in producing them. So just trying to get, you know, the fossil fuels out of our food system as much as we can, and producing healthy natural food.
The powerful thing is that with regenerative agriculture, we can not only produce food, and we can not only produce an abundance of food, but we can do it in a way that regenerates the land, that replenishes the aquifers, that sequesters carbon, that nurtures and supports biodiversity. Regenerative agriculture, permaculture, holistic management, there's nothing magical about the way that these things work. It's all based upon sound science and about having a point of view that is looking at your ecosystem in its entirety, not just individual aspects of it. So really what this breaks down to is that anyone who's looking after land, whether you're a farmer or a gardener or whatever, you're an ecosystem manager.